Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for April 18th through 22nd, 2022. Wow, are you feeling it? We've just had Mars over the last couple of days move over into the sign of Pisces, bringing really powerful emotions because we also have Jupiter in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, and Venus in Pisces. So we continue on this journey, and right now, it's about delving into the depths of the subconscious. We still have Jupiter and Neptune very close. We still have Jupiter not too far out of a sextile with the North Node, and Jupiter and Neptune both. So there's powerful opportunities here to surge ahead into a new timeline, but we're feeling it. Because it's like we've had a slit in the veil, and that slit in the veil is showing us our deepest, recessed, intense feelings. Core wound is what's really coming up, our core wound of separation, because Black Moon Lilith has moved over into the sign of Cancer. So just add a little bit more water to the mix here as we swim around in these places that we haven't been able to access for lifetimes. That's kind of what's going on. Now, Black Moon Lilith in Cancer, Black Moon Lilith, our deepest, darkest secrets, deepest, darkest places hidden within our psyche. And so where Black Moon Lilith is, it's the furthest away that the moon gets from Earth. And where that is in the sky, it's telling us where we're healing the deepest, darkest stuff and what that's about. So in this case, we're moving into the energy of the mother. And this is where it's pointing to this core wound, this illusion of separation. So humanity in general has been fallen so far into duality that they've lost their connection to source and spirit. Supernova souls, you came here to hold that for this experience, and it's very strong for you, but you've had to go so far away from it in order to experience this experience, in order to play the role you're here to play. And so, but we're very clearly getting the message that until we heal this core wound, this feeling of being lost, left, and abandoned here, all alone, and with in a strange, hostile environment. Supernova souls have felt that lifetimes after lifetime, lifetime after lifetime. And it's really, right now, we know that it's about landing home, our divine timeline, and coming home. Except for that we don't go home. That's the deal. We're coming home. We're bringing home here. Very challenging and very beautiful. So we can't move forward into this destiny without healing this core wound of separation, this delusion of separation, this coming back into knowing that we were never separate from Source and God, and coming back into our rightful place as co-creators. Now, that's going to take cleaning up some shame and there's a lot of energies. So this Pisces, Mars moving on to Pisces is just bringing a massive bloom of this energy, because Mars is at the very beginning degrees of Pisces. We've got Jupiter at the very coming to the end degrees of Pisces. Oh man. And then we've got Venus and Neptune in there as well. And so, but Mars is our warrior, right? And so Mars in Pisces is a warrior for feeling, a warrior of emotions, a warrior of passion, a warrior for spiritual passion and for connection. And so with Venus there as well, we've got the deep griefs that are coming up have to do with where our life doesn't fit our true spiritual nature. And because Venus is our desires, it's like what we want, what we love, what makes us feel good. And in Pisces, it's about spiritual connection. And Mars is our action planet. Let's go. Let's make stuff happen. Let's do it. Let's own it. Let's live it. Let's be it. And that's spiritual connection. And so we're really coming deep grief around how far we've gotten away from our spiritual path over lifetimes. It's like waking up to who we really are. And of course, there's going to be that repressed grief and emotions. And this is the energy of the next couple of months. We'll have a big shift of energy with Jupiter moving over into Aries on May 10th. So pretty much this next 3 weeks of intense slipping beyond the veil for mystical and magical experiences of spiritual connection, but also finding that core wound, this deep unresolved grief, the shame, where we continue to beat ourselves up for not living a life more true to who we really are, except for that we had to go away from who we really were. We had to have this separation. We had to experience this to play our role here now. So, can we own it and get on with it and forgive ourselves and come back into a glorious connection? Because this is what's happening. That Jupiter going over the Aries point, it's very important birth of the Christ consciousness timeline. Going from Pisces to Aries. Now, Jupiter will retrograde back into Pisces and then cross the Aries point, and in October, and then in December 21st, very powerful, Jupiter will cross over for the third time that Aries point. So this first one in May, very powerful because we're still feeling all of the planets direct, although at the end of April, Jupiter turns retrograde, but we still have some momentum and with no personal planets retrograde. And it's kind of like, can we grab a hold of this timeline? So there's mystical and magical opportunities coming in, but it's like we have to grab a hold of it. We have to own it. We have to live it and breathe it. Now, it feels like there's just so much energy with this. Pisces is about delusions and confusion. And so there's a lot of energy towards trying to gaslight us back into the trauma drama timelines, right? We need to go there on some level to clear this repressed grief and emotions. Like, let the tears flow. Let yourself express. There's so much coming up. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to get attached to it. It's just like, oh yeah, get that shit out of there. Because we're coming home. We're coming home to Mother, the Great Mother. And we're embodying this energy here on Earth. We're literally incarnating New Earth as Christ consciousness in our field. And so in order to do that, we can't hold on to those griefs from the past, except for we haven't been able to find them. And so now this astrology is leading us through deep and profound journey into the wilderness and into the depths. And now Black Moon Lilith in Cancer says those depths are about where you don't feel loved and held as a child of the universe. Because life has been a shit show for you, supernova soul, right? Lifetime after lifetime. And we know we have to turn the ship around, right? And so this next 3 weeks is really a lot about grabbing a hold of the magic and possibilities and cleansing and healing this core wound and grief. So at the end of the month, Venus will be coming into her conjunction with first Neptune and then Jupiter at the very end degrees of Pisces. And so Venus won't be too far off from Jupiter as moving over into the Aries point. And then Mars will make these conjunctions, but Mars won't catch up to Jupiter until they're at early degrees of Aries at the end of May. So that's going to be really powerful. So that's our timeline coming up. It's all about making this leap from the deep subconscious, mystical, magical, back into a new timeline, a new rebirth, a new expression in the physical form of the consciousness of spirit. And that's us. That's what we're doing. And we're embodying it because the sun, so we're still coming off this really intense Libra full moon. I mean, whoa. Libra full moon in square to Pluto. And the sun is exactly square Pluto today. And this is also today, the 18th, that Venus is exactly sextile Mercury and Uranus at 13 degrees. So there's a lot going on here. But the sun in square to Pluto from that Libra full moon is this, where we're coming up against the structures of this world and where we've given our power over to the structures, the false reality. And that, along with all this grief around how we've gotten off our spiritual path, it's very powerful. And it's in this, and the sun right now at the end degrees of Aries and moves over into Taurus tomorrow. So this bloom of this last bit of just empowerment, Mars and Scorpio wants to finally feel, finally express, finally say, hey, I'm calling you out on that shit because I see right through it and I can't tolerate it. So Mars and Scorpio is giving us a super empowerment, but also a lot of emotions, a lot of spirituality. Just, it's almost like this, I can feel this confliction of the spiritual warrior, coming up, and kind of like doubt, deep and profound doubt around who you are and your purpose. And are you even spiritual? What are you even doing here? What is, but right underneath that is this renewed connection and spiritual truth. And so this energy is asking us to reevaluate where we've given away our power and take it back. So there's some mudslinging now with Mars and Pisces. It's like moving this energy around. The stuck grief can't stay stuck anymore. And what is that about, right? Where's this frustration in your life of the things that won't move to support you in your spiritual path? Do you deserve that? Is it time for you to own it? Is it time for us to begin to live and breathe right here, right now, this spiritual truth of who we really are, and deny that? It's like we need to feel and release those grief, but also say, I'm not playing in those trauma and drama timelines. So today is also the exact sextile with Venus and Pisces, in sextile to Uranus and Mercury, exactly conjunct at 13 degrees. This is just so rare and crazy and beautiful that all this happens on one day today. So we've got Venus at 13 degrees Pisces, Chiron at 13 degrees Aries, and Mercury and Uranus, the higher and lower mind, together in Taurus. And these, it's a sextile and two semi-sextiles lining up. It's speaking of activation. It's speaking of taking it to the next level. And it's speaking to this transition, the Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and the death and rebirth. The death of rebirth of our timeline, of our earth, of our age, of Aquarius, of who we thought we were. And it's deep and guttural and exciting and scary all at once, and but Mercury and Uranus together bring an opportunity. Like, it's weird. It's like, wow, all this Pisces energy, and we're just pulled beyond the veil. But then Uranus and Mercury, it's like the higher and lower mind, and it's like a connection. I'm seeing like dots connecting. Are you ready for some dots to connect in your life, right? I mean, at some point we tell ourselves it's all going to make sense, right? But right now, so there could be clarity, there could be guidance, there could be direction that comes through from this transit. In sextile to Neptune, sextile to Venus in Pisces. And Venus is like, in Pisces is, what do you want? What really matters? What do you care about? What makes you feel good? And in Pisces, it's about feeling connected, not separate. And so the clarity that's coming through the Akashic records, dripping, drip, 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 crumbs into your life from this transit, is showing you, putting some dots together so that you can free yourself from the griefs of the past and live that life that's more true to who you really are. Everything in astrology has been about this for months, right? I mean, we're still playing this out because we had that Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, both in going back to Pluto and Capricorn. Now Sun square Pluto, while Mercury and Venus are activated in this Pisces energy. Now, Venus in Pisces sextile to Uranus and Mercury in Taurus is activating a very powerful energy. Now, Mars will go on to create the sextile, which is very interesting. Mars will come into a sextile with Uranus in the first week of May, with Uranus exactly conjunct the Sun in Taurus. So we've got Uranus, Mercury, sextile Venus, higher, lower mind. What do you want? What are you doing? Where's your wealth? This is all about our spiritual connection and our true wealth and the embodiment of spirituality, the embodiment of spirit, the transformation we're doing in our physical body in the earth from physical form into light. And do you deserve it? Can you let yourself have it? Are you good enough? And so now Mars is going to come into this. Mars and Pisces, moving these stuck grief and emotions in sextile to the Sun and Mercury together. And so Mercury and the Sun is about what's your spiritual identity. This is about your identity as in your higher self and your highest self. And can you own it? Can you own who you are as a spiritual leader and teacher, supernova soul? The reluctant leader, the hiding in the shadows, playing small, covered in shame, hidden in the dark catacombs. We got to go down there and get those scrolls and get that truth and start living that spiritual reality. It's interesting because there's so much push right now for negative creating by the control forces, but they're losing grip. The consciousness can't support it. It's not manifesting the way they want it anymore. So the tide is already turned. And now it's when we cross over and grab a hold of it and say, we're not feeding that bullshit anymore. And we're going to live and breathe the truth, the bigger truth of who we really are. Very intense and powerful energies. So that's the first week of May. The end of April will be Venus coming into conjunction, Neptune, Pluto, bringing the linking, even though Venus and Neptune, Jupiter and Neptune are coming out of that powerful conjunction, but we'll still be feeling it. And Venus is like linking, so Venus is linking Neptune and Jupiter energies together. And that's about our deepest desires for spiritual connection and a feeling of being a life where you feel held and connected as a child of God, a co-creator, and a deep desire for an expression of who you are as in your spiritual truth with Mars there. So that's kind of the energy coming up. And right now we're coming off of this full moon, Mars and Pisces, dealing with this powerful and intense resolution of the deepest subconscious places around that wound of separation. And with Venus and sextile Mercury and Uranus, an activation of our Akashic records, helping us to claim the life that we really want. And this is, when we talk about this Pisces Taurus sextile, which is so important because that's the sextile that's going to make everything change when Jupiter moves into Taurus and Saturn will be in Pisces. So Jupiter Saturn conjunction in 2020 there in Aquarius, moving over into Aquarius. And so now we are, when those planets about 3 years later get to the sextile position, that's when the magic floods in. And now that the control energies are being defeated, they can't interrupt this timeline anymore. And so this is what we're doing. It's like this whole energy of resolving grief and the core wound and coming back together into connection and owning who we are and having our ego death. All of that is preparation for this divine timeline is kicking into gear, especially this year with Jupiter moving over going over the Aries point 3 times. And so the energy of this sextile between Pisces and Taurus, which is playing out right now with Venus, and then the first week of May with Mars, is all about who we are as our spiritual truth, and can we own that spiritual wealth? Can we embody it? Can we take that beautiful energy of creation and infuse ourselves with light and claim this divine timeline and this evolution and this ascension? The energies that are coming into your life right now are all about this. It's all about you claiming your highest timeline. And whatever's working against you is showing you the resistance you need to grow. And so it's like that point when there's a little bit of light coming in the cocoon. Maybe you're not dying after all. Maybe you're not stuck in purgatory after all. Maybe you're not on the wrong planet after all. And it's really uncomfortable because you got to wake up and feel all the things that you haven't been able to feel. But there's the light coming in and the memory of who you are. And you might have wings. Your wings were clipped for sure, right? And so that's the place we're at for these next 3 weeks. And we'll just kind of feel out these energies together as we move into eclipse season, where, so more information about that as this next lunation begins, and really the Libra full moon, moving into eclipse season. Eclipse season happens when the nodes of the moon, which is with the interception of the axis or of the orbit of the sun and the moon. And that's when they line up and form eclipses. So it's about aligning up. It's about things hidden and being revealed. And it's about timeline alignment. So very powerful time we're in, a complete rearranging. And don't forget that. Definitely in difficult times, what seems the message coming through for supernova souls is the universe is rearranging. Are you going to be on the vibe of that? Be on the vibe that as much as you can, okay? Because we're trying to land a new timeline, and the definition of a timeline is a vibrational frequency, So focus on that little point of light coming into your dark cocoon, and that there's something else coming around the corner, and be in that energy. It's up to us right here, right now, to own it and live it and breathe it and begin to live the ecstatic experience that life is meant to be together. So I love you so much, supernova souls. Thank you for being here and going through all you've gone through to be here on the planet together with us right now. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.